Michelle Cummings-Steele. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to move to our appeal of decisions. Pursuant to the provisions of 2.68.030 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, please take notice that decisions of the Metropolitan Board of Parks and Recreation may be appealed to the Chancery Court of Davidson County for review under a common law writ of certiorari. Any appeal must be filed within 60 days. Within 60 days after entry of a final decision by the board. Any person or other entity considering an appeal should consult with an attorney to ensure that time and procedural requirements are met. We're going to move to the consideration of the minutes. Have you had an opportunity to read the minutes of our June meeting? Yeah, June.
Motion.
July.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? All righty, seeing none, it's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Y'all, today is July 1st. It is flying, and I am confused. All righty. Moving to Metro Council referrals, are there any referrals from council members present? Director Odom?
There are none today.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll move now to public comment period. The public comment period is limited to 20 minutes total. Persons wishing to provide comment on matters that are germane to the items on the agenda must sign up prior to the beginning of the meeting on the sign-up sheet provided at the meeting. The opportunity to provide public comment is offered on a first-come, first-served basis. Comments are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes. Do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Thank you so much. We're going to move now to old business 04-25-10. The Watkins College of Art at Belmont University requests acceptance of an in-kind grant not to exceed $20,000 for commissioned mural of art on the rear exterior wall of the Easley Community Center at E.S. Rose Complex, 1000 Edge Hill Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee. Watkins College of Art is a recipient of the Metro Arts Thrive Program Award. This program connects artists and organizations with the community to create investments, cultural connections, and transformations. And this is Council District 17. The Public Art Committee met this morning. Commissioner Foster, is there a report from the committee?
The Public Art Committee recommends approval.
Thank you so much. I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. We'll move now to our consent agenda. Director Odom, are there any comments or anything we need to add?
No comments or additions, ma'am.
All righty, any questions from the board? I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. We'll move now to our new business. 07-25-02, Board to affirm the appointment of Ms. Alice Hudson Pell as a member of the Parks Board. Ms. Hudson Pell's term will expire April 30th, 2030. We want to say welcome to you, Commissioner Hudson Pell, and congratulations. You're in for a ride. We have a good time, as you can see. All righty.
Well, ask a question. Do you hyphenate your name? Are you a hyphenator, or are we?
I'm not.
But you go by Hudson Pell?
I go by Hudson Pell, yes.
All right. Thank you.
I'm a hyphenator.
I am not. All righty, we'll move to 07-25-03, nomination of Park Board Vice Chairperson as per Section 1000.4 of the Metropolitan Parks Policy Manual. Are there any nominations from the floor?
I'd like to nominate Edward Henley.
Thank you so much. Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Shane Foster.
Thank you so much. We have nominations of Shane Foster and Ed Henley. Are there any other nominations? Do you all?
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
Is our, I'm sorry, who can qualify for the nominations?
I'm going to defer to legal because in terms of the question of a representative from another board,
There's
qualify?
no prohibition on a
Okay.
representative from the
Okay.
board.
None at all. So we have these two nominations. Do you both accept? We will vote in August.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So we have the nomination of Commissioners Ed Henley and Shane Foster, and we will, thank you so much. The nominations are closed unless someone else wants to vie for the position. I would like to put my name, no, just playing. All righty, so nominations are closed. We'll see you in August. We're moving to 07-25-04, Board to approve an open range salary increase for Director of Parks, for the Director of Parks in alignment with the 2025-26 Metropolitan Government Pay Plan in accordance with Civil Service Policy 5.10-II. And we will defer this to our Finance Committee for the August meeting. Okay? 07-25-05, Friends of Metro Animal Care and Control, MACC, requests permission to host a pickleball tournament at the Centennial Sportsplex with a waiver of court fees, tennis court, and to raise funds for a Metro organization, MACC. Council District 21. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
All righty, I will accept a motion. Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? So I do have a question. For a Metro organization, they're raising money for themselves.
Yes, for Metro Animal.
For,
Yes, for Metro Animal Control.
okay, that for a mix me up. Okay, thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. 07-25-06, staff requests approval of a dedicated conservation greenway easement located at 0 McCrory Lane, Tennessee, parcel number 126-000-56400, along the Harpeth River. This greenway easement will conserve 2.48 acres of open space and provide for future expansion of the Stoners Creek, Dry Fork Creek Greenway Network. The easement dedication was a condition of the Planning Commission's approval of the subdivision overlook at Aaron's Crest, 2023S-189-001, Council District 12. We will defer this to our Acquisition Committee. 07-25-07, staff requests approval for application, submission, and ultimate acceptance of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Places Grant for the development of a miracle field and playground at Cedar Hill Park. The grant is valued at approximately $6 million, including the development of a Miracle League field, an inclusive playground, accessible restrooms, seating, gathering areas, and concessions. The grant will be in kind to Metro Parks. No matching funds will be required from Metro. None money will be bestowed to Metro Parks. Blue Cross Healthy Places Build and Design Partners will construct and manage the project. The grant also includes a maintenance fund that will help offset Metro Parks resources. This is Council District 3. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
And just a note, I said $6 million as opposed to $5 million. The department has increased is increasing their ask to $6 million. Is there any discussion? Any other questions?
I'd like to make an edit to the language here. Proposed to say staff requests approval for application and submission of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthy Places Grant, taking out the ultimate acceptance. This is based on the signage requirements and the details of the grant.
Okay. Okay, with that edit to the wording, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve is amended.
As amended, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. There's a second? Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded with the amendment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Bruce, are you good? Okay. 07-25-08, Friends of Beaman Park requests acceptance of an in-kind grant valued at $572.42 for materials for the stabilization of the carport side porch at the Proctor Barn located in Beaman Park. This project has been approved by Metro Parks and Consolidated Maintenance staff. Beaman Park staff will be present and active for all work on the barn. There is no required match for or other obligation required by Metro Parks associated with this grant. And this is Council District 1. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 07-25-09, Friends of Shelby Park and Bottoms request acceptance of an in-kind grant valued at $4,400 to fund to fund new equipment for the Shelby Community Center, including volleyball nets, roller skates, basketballs, and shelving. The equipment will be paid for directly by Friends of Shelby with no match needed from Metro Parks. Council District 6. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
All righty, I'll accept a motion. Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 07-25-10, staff requests acceptance of a cash grant in the amount of $50,000 from the Nashville Parks Foundation for programming improvements to Metro Nashville community centers. The projects funded will include transportation for field trips, supplies for special programs, and supplies for all division-wide events. There's no required match or other obligation required by Metro Parks associated with this grant. Council District citywide. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. I'll accept a motion.
Second.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All righty, the motion passes. 07-25-11, Friends of Metro Dance requests acceptance of a general donation to the Cultural Arts Division for $2,000. Council District citywide. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends
I'll
approval.
accept a motion.
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. Moving to 07-25-12, PNH Properties LLC seeks approval for a lease agreement for Metro Parks property located at 211 Commerce Street, Nashville, Tennessee 37201. The property is commonly known as Commerce Center Park and contains 0.304 acres. The agreement seeks to make improvements to the property and to utilize the park as a part of an adjacent hotel development. The consideration for the use of the property is PNH Properties' agreement to lease 2,900 square feet of 211 Commerce to Metro Nashville for use as a fire department station, and this is Council District 19. We're going to defer this to acquisition. 07-25-13, staff requests approval of amendment number 3 to the contract for the Stones River Greenway Opry Mills Connector Agreement number 170096, project ID 123-110.01, federal project number TAP 9312. 118, state project number 19 LPLM F3153. This amendment will extend the project completion date to June 30th, 2027. This proposed 1-mile greenway connection is consistent with Plan to Play and is regionally significant greenway project connecting Donaldson, Hermitage, Pennington Bend, and East Nashville with the Opry Mills Complex in downtown Nashville. This is Council District 25. Director Odom, is there a recommendation?
Staff recommends approval.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion? I'll accept the motion, I'm sorry.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. The motion passes. We'll move now to special presentations. Each of you have 7 minutes to present, and we'll start first with Ms. Abby Lockett with Free to Move to present to the board. Good afternoon. And welcome.
Bodies is our most valuable tool for safety. We are free to be aware. Situational awareness is not fear. It's knowing what's happening around us and listening to what's happening inside our bodies.
We are free to breathe. This is how we reclaim safety from the inside out.
We are free to prepare. When safety becomes part of your plan, it empowers you to be present in your movement. We are free to take action. When action is needed, your preparation and practice give you the ability to adapt in the moment. We are free to make noise. Everyone deserves the right to move confidently. This is about freedom, to own your space. We are free to move.
Good afternoon. Sorry. My name is Abby Locketts, and this is Kayla Davis, and we are here on behalf of my sister-in-law, Dr. Alyssa Locketts, and Free to Move, a nonprofit organization founded in honor of Alyssa, who was tragically murdered in October of this past year while out for a midday run on the Mill Creek Greenway. In the wake of Alyssa's passing, we began a relentless pursuit to find answers, to manage our grief, because the loss of Alyssa has been unimaginable. And with that, we feel that to honor Alyssa is to protect future generations of women in the community. In our pursuit for answers and to bring impact, we've met with dozens of city leaders and community organizations, including City Councilman John Rutherford, Director Odom, most recently Mayor O'Connell and Kristen Wilson. We've met with Tim Nesh, Cindy Harrison, I think he's over there, among many, many others. And we have found that the way to bring impact is through community. It's through unity over division. It's through empowerment over fear. And that's why we're here today, to present a proposal for partnership in honoring Alyssa. Our vision is to create safer, more inclusive, and more informed community in our outdoor spaces by providing a systemic solutions approach. There's no one-size-fits-all to safety, we have found. Alyssa had been trained in self-defense for years. She was running in the day on a populated trail, and it still wasn't enough to save her life. But we don't see that as a failure. We see that as an opportunity to move forward together through providing more opportunities, more access to education, more access to community engagement, so that every woman can move confidently without fear. Our safety solutions approach is systemic, as I said. It empowers individuals, activates communities, and complements infrastructure improvements. So our proposal to you today is that we act as an advocacy group to support your increased safety and security in your infrastructure improvements. But we also act as a facilitating organization to bring education and outreach into the communities throughout Nashville. Our approach is based on three main strategies for safety. You have your neurophysiological strategy, which is how do we navigate our internal compass? How do we learn how to approach the fight and flight instincts that we all have in our bodies and those stress responses? Then we have our proactive strategies for safety. That would be route sharing. It would be learning what run clubs, walking clubs, active, engaged community programming there is available already. It would also mean learning how to make a safety plan, how to communicate where you're going, what you're doing to individuals that can help you. And then you have reactive strategies for safety. So those would be, yes, self-defense classes that we would help provide using trained professionals, but they would also include bystander intervention courses and training. So opportunities for men and allies to learn the best way to intervene, the best way to interact in situations and scenarios that would need help. Our goal for this partnership would be to center the safety needs and experiences of women and individuals in the community. It's also to educate all community members on how we can create safer environments in our communities. It would foster community engagement, but also we would be able to collect ongoing feedback for you all through you guys call it the hub, right? Sorry, I'm not from here. Using the hub as a source of getting feedback on infrastructure improvements that are being put in place. It would also be a place for us to collect surveys on how individuals in the community are feeling with different areas of Nashville and the different green spaces here. And it would complement those physical infrastructure improvements. In the weeks after Alyssa's death, we found out that the Parks Department or Greenways had approved putting in a camera in the parking lot where Alyssa was attacked. Those are the kind of improvements we want to support with you all. Our organization and Alyssa's family, as I speak on behalf of both, we want to support and unite the community as much as possible. There's enough division in this world, right? So we want to be able to bring the community together through as much engagement as we can. This would be this sample program schedule. We'd be meeting bi-monthly at a various greenway every other month, from Shelby Bottoms to Centennial Park. There would be women-centered safety education opportunities, but also bystander intervention training, allyship training. We would have group activities to increase community engagement and feedback, opportunities for impact reporting as well. The way to measure this impact is obviously through a variety of ways, but collecting the number of concerns collected through the hub, the before and after of these programs, where we stand there, the increase in public awareness, the growth and strengthening of city and community partnerships, but also how many people are we getting out into the parks now? How can we increase engagement into our parks? Really, empowerment is our main goal. We don't want to increase fear. We want to increase empowerment. We're asking the Parks Board, Parks Department, for $25,000 for this initiative. This would cover all of the costs of program development, speaker and trainer fees, and also the permitting and venue fees. Our hope is that we can start with doing these 6 programs and then continue to fundraise and expand access and expand our impact through increased programming over the next 5 years. Do you have any comments on budget? Okay. So, how would this be good for the community? Building trust and building community is one of our biggest components of our organization. We want to get people out into greenways. We want people to feel comfortable in the parks and know that the spaces that they're enjoying are safe and they feel secure. There's never going to be a 0% chance of risk. We understand that. But we do know that by increasing community engagement, we will increase the want and the empowerment of people to come out into the community. Yes. Yeah. So the video you saw at the very beginning was the preview trailer to our 6-part educational series that we just developed. These six videos will be the basis for this bi-monthly community education that we are proposing. Each of those videos addresses one of the 3 safety strategies that we talked about earlier. So our neurophysiological strategies, learning how to adapt fight or flight response. Then we have our proactive strategies, so route planning, safety preparedness, situational awareness. And then finally, we have our reactive strategies. So how do we take action whenever action needs to be had? Winning doesn't always mean fighting. And that's one of our goals, is to teach individuals that they have options during situations where they might need to take action. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here and your commitment to your family and to the city, to the parks. I do have a question. Will there be a research component added?
Yes. Okay. So we actually, just at the beginning of the year, sent out our first survey to 1,000 participants to learn more about what constitutes safety, right? What are the components to safety? Because what feels safe to me might be different than to you, right? There's no one-size-fits-all approach. And that way we can more holistically look at what are our options for safety. Does that mean honing in on advocacy for lighting and surveillance? Does that mean increasing education in certain areas like the reactive strategies for safety or the proactive. Does that mean bringing in more community organizations?
Right.
So yes, there is. And we would provide that impact reporting to you all as one of our deliverables.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board? Commissioner Mays?
Yes, thank you so much for that presentation, and your family has my deepest sympathy. I live near Mill Ridge Park, so when that happened, that's in my community. But my question is, how did you choose the sites, the site selection initially, and do you have a plan for scaling up or rolling out to other parks in the area?
So our goal initially was that so I'm a librarian. So equitable access to information is key to everything I do. So to be able to provide as much equity and inclusivity as possible so that we can have different areas of Nashville focused in on and not just one was the reason why we chose kind of scattered around the area. We actually met with Director Odom in April, and she also had the suggestion that we scale to some of the after-school programming that you all have available through Metro Parks. So that would be one of our more immediate goals, would be following this first year of programming at these sites, we would see if we can start implementing it into youth programming as well. The videos that we've created, we're very intentional about not inciting any fear whatsoever. There's no dark, shadowy figure. There's no talk about attack or assault. It's very much about just learning to trust yourself and your instincts during any situation. I live in Colorado, so you could show these videos to someone hiking a trail to be prepared for a mountain lion. So that's the idea. That's good.
Okay, and just one other question.
Yes.
Do you see potentially any additional increase in funding requirements as you start to scale the program?
So the funding that we're asking of you all would cover those 6 programs. We are holding a fundraiser in October, the October Jogathon, where we will be running all 107 miles of Nashville Greenways in 7 days to raise money over the 1-year anniversary of Alyssa's attack for expanded programming access. So our ask to you all would be that initial amount of funding that could ensure these 6 programs, but we're hoping to also get private funders and donors to be able to increase access in that way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, sir.
Very good presentation. Thank you for doing it. One thing I would encourage you to think about, there are some parks that do have friends groups.
Yes.
And to work with those friends groups as well, that can kind of give you a little operating leverage.
Yes. So our goal would be, once you guys were the culminating people that we were going to be talking to, would be then to start going into the friends organizations to start for just planning, event planning support, we would go to them. Yes, thank you.
Very moving presentation. Thank you. And I echo the condolences for your family. How do you envision interacting with and partnering with the Parks Police? Is that
Yes.
part of the plan, and how do you see that playing out?
Yes, so I have exchanged a few emails back and forth with, forgive me, Irvin. Yes, that's correct. And after speaking with Mayor O'Connell yesterday, he also suggested that we pull in some of your city departments that have counseling and mental health support as well. So our goal, while we ask for funding through the Parks Department, our goal would be to engage with Parks Police. It would be to engage with your mental health support so that we can bring in the community as holistically as possible. So having Parks Police come and do a training or a talk during one of these events would be ideal. That's our hope. Yes.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions left. I think kind of want to.
Just speaking to it. Yes.
Okay, great. I think my kind of want to address the question.
It's not on.
It's just not working. Okay, there we go. Ooh, this feels like planning commission. I don't quite like that.
You're in the wrong seat.
No, but my fellow board members asked the questions. I just wanted to make this statement. One, obviously, I want to express appreciation and deep appreciation for you taking on what you have in the wake of what's happened, and then presenting it to us in this context. I'm really think it's important for our community to understand that, parks are part of a very public network. And the only way to really get the parks you want is for the actions like what you all are presenting here. And so I think, stewardship and partnership and the type of activation that you all are thinking about is exactly what we need. And obviously the goal of making people more aware and making not only our community members, but also finding a way to be a really good partner with our city and the integration between our departments is, I really appreciate it. So thank you for that.
Any other?
As my peers have said, condolences to you and your family, and thank you for this presentation. There are a number of nonprofits in the area that have created activations with this kind of education and awareness in community. One, are you partnering with those organizations? And two, have you all gotten to the place in your research where you've been able to identify gaps in the education that currently aren't being offered in our community?
So I have been in touch with, I've met with Meredith through Walk Bike Nashville, is that, yeah. And so we've been in touch in ways that we can collaborate and partner on in future programming. And my hope would be that in addition to city departments that we would work with for these events, we would also pull in community organizations as well that can bring their time and skills and talent to support us. We're all about sharing the love and sharing knowledge because we think knowledge is power, right? Access is power and knowledge is power. So we are also very open because we're just only been around for 7 months today, to other individuals and organizations that would want to partner with us in providing this education, and are hoping that it can just continue to grow in that aspect, yes. And then in terms of gaps, yes. A lot of, I don't want to take too much time. You'll get me nerding out a little bit, my apologies. But we have found that a lot of well-intentioned solutions are really just barriers to accessibility for women. So a lot of what we are seeing is, let's just not have certain demographics run at night. Or just you need to take more self-defense classes. Or you need to just carry XYZ weapon. And that is not a solution. That's just a Band-Aid over a gaping wound, which is why we're here today, to address it systemically, because it's a systemic issue. It's not something that you can treat as, by a symptom. So our hope is that through the infrastructure improvements that you are already putting in place, that's one area that we are working on it, but then we can also address, holistically how we can make the community have more ownership over this space as well through this education, and not just host self-defense classes every other month. Yeah.
I just want to add quickly that 90% of the violence that happens to both women and men in our community and others is perpetuated by men. And there are a lot of activations that are happening currently to target men with specific education and awareness around this. And so there's opportunity to engage with those. Thank you.
Sorry, one more thing. Alyssa was a former board member of the Mary Parish Center, the domestic violence shelter here in Nashville. And they have been a very vocal partner and supporter of our organization. And so our hope would be to also work with them in some capacity as well. Yeah.
Director Odom?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Good to see you again. Just for benefit of the Parks Board and your decision-making, I wanted to bring up a couple of notes. I'd love to have your formal support documented for this partnership, and then to inform some of you or remind others of you that in terms of the ask of $25,000, we don't have that available in the department today. the soonest in terms of regular metro processes for us would be to include it in our FY27 budget. And so I'd like to get your support for that. But then, too, also to acknowledge that Metro does have mechanisms for funding of nonprofits that don't necessarily come through the department. So we are willing to help navigate those channels and explore the availability of funding in that way with your support.
So we've heard the presentation, and thank you so much, Ms. Lockett and family. We want to formalize the partnership. We have heard of support from the council member as well as from the mayor's office. And so with that, I would like to ask for a motion to accept this partnership.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you so much. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All righty, we are formalizing our partnership, and I guess, will be in contact in the ways that works out, okay? Thank you. We'll move now to Parks Police Division to present an annual update to the board. Captain Davis, is that you?
It is.
All righty, come on.
Thank you. Now that Ms. Lockett has your attention, I'll do what I can to follow that. But thank you for the opportunity to come here and talk about some of the things that we've done, accomplished over the past year. I am Metro Police Captain Greg Davis. I oversee the operations for the Park Police here in the Parks Department. I currently have one lieutenant, 3 sergeants, and 9 officers with 4 trainees in the pipeline, ready to sign on and help us out in the coming months and years. Currently, we have as far as our vacancies go, we have 3 sergeant vacancies on the books right now, 16 officers vacant, for a total of 36 available police slots. So with those 9 officers last year, I'll just start with kind of some of the work that they do is so far this year, they've either answered or generated 6,500 calls for service, which when you do the math on that over 6 months, they're doing quite a bit of work for the small numbers that they have out there. So they are out there doing the work to try to keep the parks safe. Let's see, make sure I got that right. Good deal. So what it takes to become a park police officer is very, very similar to what it takes to become a Metro police officer. The criteria is the same. They go through the same selection process. They go through the same background checks. There are we don't skip anything in terms of when you compare one agency to the next. They have to meet all the same criteria. So year to date, in the first 6 months of the year, we've had 421 applicants. So there is some interest there to become a park police officer. 247 of those followed up with the recruiter. So when we get an application in, we then move to the invite to come and test for civil service testing. That is composed of a physical component and a written component. So when we send out those, further gauging the interest and then doing the invite to that process, only 247 people followed up on that. 110 of those actually showed up that day after receiving that invite. And then, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. 110 of those responded to the invitation for civil service processing. 55 have actually appeared for that testing process, and of those 55, 41 passed. So by the end of that process, that's just getting through that initial phase of testing. About 10% passed that process, and then about another 10 to 20% come out on the other side of the background process once they go through that 3 to 4 month background process of going through their past and their current affairs. So once they get through that background process, they'll go into the Metro Police Training Academy right alongside of their Metro Police peers. That's anywhere from 20 to 24 weeks of training, depending on what time of year they start, because they incorporate holidays and things like that. And on the right side of the screen there, those are 3 of our current trainees That upper left is Dylan Quinn. On the right in the rear there is Robert Kraus. And then there at the bottom is Josh Escamilla. We do have another lateral trainee that's in the process right now, and his name is Stefan. I'm not going to try that last name. I tried it in the office very often while he was sitting there with us, and I always messed it up. But he's in there as well. We have 2, I think, that are slated to start on August 1st. So hopefully that process keeps going with them, and they do their part to get through the academy. Okay, one of the most popular components of the park police, and I always like to highlight the mounted patrol. People just love to see them come out, interact at these community events, summer community programs at the community centers, and always a big attraction when they come out. Here is Officer Adamberger and Officer Shelton there at Shelby Park. I think this was a couple of years ago at that community center summer program. Another part of mounted that you'll be hearing a little bit more about soon is the new mounted facility located out at Peeler Park. There's a lot more to it than just these pictures, but I didn't want to overwhelm this slide with pictures. But we're gaining a lot when we move out there. A larger barn facility, much more, I guess, amenities for our mounted partners. And then as you see on the left there, very nice fencing and probably 3 to 4 times the amount of pasture space for them to get out, stretch their legs. Fresh grass. It's a very good facility out there that they'll be moving into. This is our newest partner that we got. I think May 20th, I think is when we got Diesel back to Nashville. We did a nationwide search, and that included some of the vendors, I guess, if you will, trainers that MMPD had used in the past. But ultimately, our search led us to Blairsville, Georgia, to a step above Stables, where we found Diesel. And just some of the preview videos and things like that we saw of him operating were just very impressive. So far, he's doing very well. I think they were out doing some patrols on the streets downtown today. Be his first exposure to the community here in Nashville. And I've not gotten any negative feedback yet so far. My phone hasn't rang, so I think he must be doing pretty well. But Diesel is a 4-year-old Belgian quarter horse mix. So that's kind of been the way we've been going at MMPD, is going to a draft quarter cross or a draft some other breed cross because of their temperament in dealing with the communities, their size, their the way they just, I can't think of the word I'm looking for here, but the way they hold up through the hot days and things like that, those long days that they may just be standing all day waiting for something to happen. But they deal with that a lot better than the walking horses that we've used in the past. That's Diesel again. I'm going to play a video next. This is just part of Diesel's training, just some of the things that we put them through to get them ready for that stimulus or those distractions or those loud noises and things that they're going to encounter out in the public when they're out there on the street, so that they don't get scared, they don't get distracted, not able to do their job that we've trained them to do. I will say I grew up around horses, and if I'd have done this on one of my horses, I probably wouldn't be standing in front of this podium. I probably would have never passed those physical requirements that I talked about on the front end. But one thing that you can't hear over the siren in this video, you see all that smoke there, that was a firework that we set off in this enclosed space. And that's a metal building as well. So the sounds that you're hearing in this room doesn't do that justice in what he's just taken with a grain of salt. I'll make you sit through the rest of that. But pretty impressive watching that. The training that they go through when we get them here anyway is pretty impressive from what I've seen and been involved in. But that right there, like I said, the horses that I grew up on would have never enjoyed that process. Park Police outreach. So just an array of pictures here that I put together, just our folks either out preparing, as you see Officer Brian up there in the top left, just got bike certified within the last month. That's one of those tools that we get out on. We're not in an enclosed car. We're out there. We're able to be contacted more readily by members of our community when we're in the open air like that. Moving over to the right, that's the Christmas basket program. And several of our officers chose to participate in that this year. That's something that the MMPD has put on for the last 40 or 50 years. And over the last couple of years, we've gotten that participation in that program increased, just going out and delivering Christmas baskets to needy families on Christmas Eve morning. Officer House is down there on the bottom left. That's out at Beeman on one of the trails. He was out riding some of the more open and developed trails out there in the UTV one day and encountered this lady. Again, in the middle there, that's part of that bike class that Officer Bryant is participating in. Most of those people, well, everyone with the exception of Officer Bryant, are all his MMPD counterparts. And then bottom right is the most recent group picture we were able to take, and that was back, as you can see by the great lawn there, that was very early in the year before the grass came in, and I think Phil probably appreciated that, getting on that grass before it actually came in. But most of those folks in that picture are still here. I think we've had a couple of folks that have left to move with their spouses and other places as their spouses got different jobs. So crime and initiatives, the bad part of this presentation, right? There's actually some good there. So that top number, I updated that after I ran my numbers yesterday. I've updated it for this week. So Part 1 crimes, those are kind of those crimes that are kind of the worst of the worst, the most sensitive crimes that we deal with. And so far this year, we've had 89 Part 1 crimes, and that is down from 152 this time last year. I can't take all the credit for that. A lot of the assistant directors here in this room helped with that, with improving infrastructure, with gates and cameras and lighting and just different things that I've asked for, different needs that they saw, that they've made those improvements. And also, I hope that I've done my job and having a little better communication on the MMPD side to get some assistance where we need to fill those gaps as well, where the Park Police, when they go home at night, there's no coverage overnight. Moving down, no homicides so far this year, which I think is significant. We had 3 this time last year. I think we ended last year at around 8 on those park properties. The aggravated assaults, still in the neighborhood of where we were last year, but still down. There's some areas that have seen improvements, closed and things like that I think that number will really start to take that dip. I think that curve will start to go down even a little bit more moving forward this year. And then thefts from vehicles, those are way down. That's that number that I really attribute to some of those improvements made at the trailheads with gating, cameras and things like that, better lighting, better awareness. Putting things out there like the MMPD's Park Smart program, communicating that, and just encouraging people to get their valuables out of sight where they're not visible and accessible when people come into those parking lots looking to do what they do. That's perfect. So I didn't leave any time for questions, but if you have any, I'm happy to take them as long as the board will give us a couple extra minutes if anybody has any questions for me, or if not for this room, feel free to email me or call me at that information there on the screen. Know anybody that's looking to be a police officer?
Amen.
I highly recommend the Park Police. I can talk on the side about the differences in the different agencies and things like that to help make that decision.
Okay.
But that QR code will take you straight to begin that application process.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the board?
Just really quickly, I think one of the notes that comments I had was to ask about the equestrian facility. So thank you for incorporating that into your presentation. I was quite curious to see how that had been going, and so thanks for doing that. And then also, and obviously I think appropriate for this slide, one of the things that was approved by our council, as many other things were in the recent budget, was increase in salary and pay. And as you talk about, the need for recruitment, just curious between, the opportunities with the new facility and then that increase in pay.
Yes.
Do you see that having a fairly significant increase on recruitment?
Sure. The pay for officers, park officers, has, and for the last, at least my time here at Park Police, for the last couple of years, has been in line with that of MMPD. Exactly the same. So that was good to see, because we had fallen behind. The Park Police had fallen behind. Last year, I believe it was, so probably the budget year prior, arrangements have been made to get them up to where they match their MMPD counterparts. So that increase in pay is good. Applications have increased, but it's still that rigorous background process and that rigorous training process. We've got a lot of people in the door. It's just when they arrive at the training academy, we were seeing people, possibly, whether it was physically, mentally, whatever level of preparation they had not prepared for. It was within a week or two. I think we had 3 or 4, maybe 5 last year that quit within the first couple of weeks. And we work with them. They're in our office for at least 2 weeks typically before they actually take off and go to the police academy. And they're going to some physical preparation and things like that. We're talking to them, getting them mentally as much as we can. I mean, we can't go out there and do it for them. They probably wouldn't want me to do it for them. But getting them mentally prepared to go into that process so that they know what they're getting into, right? But we're getting people in the door, but those things just happen. It's not for everybody. As far as the equestrian facility, it's coming along great. We're at the point where we are going in and saying, well, that's not right. It's just like when you buy a house, right? You're going in and you're pointing out every little nail pop in the drywall. And that's what we're doing right now. That's where we are at in that process. So it's close.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all that our Park Police do, and our animal partners. I wonder if Diesel's got an NIL deal.
Hey, we should have.
The one thing I would say is, obviously, human resources are our most expensive resources and should be.
Yes, sir.
But we as a department and we as a board, I think, should lean in as heavily as we possibly can for technology to help us augment, be a force multiplier. Gates, lights, cameras, maybe LPRs, all those things, I think we as a department need to lean into as much as we possibly can to help, because it's hard to hire people. It's very hard to hire people, and it's very hard to keep them, and some of those things can be helpful, I think.
I think some of my counterparts are kind of putting out as much information as they can about the LPRs to help make that decision. But I think they're a great tool. I mean, I hear those conversations that maybe aren't publicly heard as much, and they're just a great tool to use when they're used correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wayne Evans to present annual update regarding ES Rose.
Thank you. I'm Wayne Evans, superintendent with the Revenue Producing Facilities here in Metro Parks, oversee the golf courses and the athletic field reservations. And as part of my duties each year is to give the annual report for the ES Rose facility. And the reason this report started was back in 2007, Parks entered into an agreement with Belmont University to construct athletic fields at ES Rose Park to be used by the general public and by university sports teams. The annual reporting process reports overall park usage, lease payments by Belmont, usage of the funds by Metro Parks, Rose Park, Middle, and Carter Lawrence elementary schools. It also talks about the utility payments by Parks and by Belmont, as well as parking, traffic, security, and also scholarship issuances. I'll try to be brief and be respectful of your time today and just kind of hit some of the highlights. One of the most things in the report that most people focus on is the usage page, which is page number 4 in your notes there. As you can see, Belmont uses the fields roughly 13 to 20% of the time, depending on which sport you're talking about. And then the bottom column is the community usage. And by community usage, that column is actually the community users that we issue permits to, like schools, soccer clubs, baseball teams, and that kind of thing. And at the bottom, you can see the unscheduled time available. So that park, for a good bit of the time, like 68% of the baseball field, 84% of the softball, 62% of the soccer is just open space for the community to use. One big thing that we felt was huge this year is in the past, the public was always saying, well, it's open 70% of the time, but I don't know when that is unless I go over there to see when it's available, because our previous scheduling system didn't have the ability for the public to see it in real time. Well, we switched this past year from event booking to Google Calendar, and that allows the public to be able to view in real time what reservations are over there. So they can look at they can go online, click on the site and say, hey, there's nobody on the soccer field for the next 4 hours. Let's go get our kids and run around and have fun. So that was a big thing that we improved this year. The next page, page number 5, has all the list of the community users. This is the ones that we issue permits to every year, and you can see there's a pretty diverse group from middle schools, high schools, soccer clubs of all ages use these fields on a pretty regular basis. On the page number 6, where it's the Belmont's maintenance and improvement expenses for the year, you can see this year it was $1,647,000. That's quite a bit higher than it is in a typical year. Usually their expenses are around $200,000 a year. This previous year, the reason that was so much higher, they spent almost $1.5 million on new turf for the baseball field. And if you remember, like 3 years ago, it was high like that again when they redid the soccer fields. But usually it's about $200,000 a year. We appreciate all that Belmont does to keep those up. If you go to the next page is lease payments to Metro. This last year, those post usually in August of the year. So for the 24, when we got in August, it was over $60,000. This year, it'll be over $62,000. It'll post sometime next month. Those funds are distributed. 80% goes to Metro Parks to be used at Easley Community Center, and the other 20% is divided equally among the PTOs at Carter Lawrence Elementary and at Rose Park Middle School. And on page 8, you can see a lot of those. We got some good information back from Dr. Sanders at the elementary school, and also we got a lot of, you can look down on Rose Park Middle, we got some great information from the president there at the PTO there that was very helpful in providing her information. Some of you may know her as Dr. Steele. But you can see all the great activities they used to provide things for their kids this year, and even for the faculty and staff as well. They had dances, they had 8th grade bridging ceremonies, teacher appreciation, college fairs. I mean, they did a lot of good things with these funds. Also, the community center, Easley Community Center, is the biggest beneficiary of those funds. They used theirs this year for a lot of special programs. They did soccer programs, volleyball clinics, youth basketball, t-ball. They had luncheons, and they even did a couple of large field trips where they went to Kentucky Kingdom and even had buses and took the kids there. So they did a lot of great activities that the kids in this neighborhood probably wouldn't get to do otherwise. And also that funding, I like to point out, you can see also provides extra staffing for that facility, so they extend their programming and their hours there at that facility a little more, as well as that funds a part-time employee. Page number 10 just talks about the utilities. As you can see, most of the year, Belmont pays roughly 75% of the utilities over the course of the year. They pay, Metro Parks pays 100% of them in June and July when Belmont's not there. We're the ones programming the fields exclusively, but the rest of the year, it's paid mostly by Belmont. Parking and traffic, we've improved, we think, a great deal over there with Easley Community Center Manager Marlo Lavender is great in communicating to us any issues she has, and she's very proactive. And we work well with her and with the Belmont University to help identify any problems or issues we're having. And there's a lot of good communications go back and forth there. So we feel like that's been a good project. On security, we feel like the incidents have been down in that park compared to last year's too, thanks to Captain Davis and his staff with all the work that they knew of the area. And also we'd like to give kudos to, during Belmont's events, of course, they have security. When they have games, they have their own Belmont police staff there as well. One of the most exciting things I think on this too for the people of that neighborhood is the scholarships. If you look on the last page, it talks about the Belmont created the E.S. Rose Scholarship in memory of Reverend E.S. Rose, who was a pastor at the city's Greater Bethel African American Episcopal Church. And he was a well-known community activist, and they developed this scholarship in his name, and it awards 2 4-year full tuition scholarships each year, each academic year. So there's, at any given time, there's usually 8 people on full scholarship for this thing. And the selection of these scholarships are based on academic accomplishment and leadership in both the school and the community, but they're all, and also on demonstrated financial need. And one thing I think is really cool is the priority consideration is given to students living in the closest proximity to Edge Hill neighborhood and who submit their application to the university by December 1st of each year. And another thing that Belmont did 2 years ago, I believe it was in 2022 and 2023, they, in addition to these scholarship funds, they decided to invest more resources to help these students to improve, so they can improve retention, raise grade point averages, increase opportunities for friendships, and enhance their cultural experience while they're at Belmont. So they've done a lot to commit to the community there and to the experience of everyone in that neighborhood. We just feel like they've been a pretty good partner in this whole process, and we've got a good facility that's benefited a lot of people, a lot of our users and the neighborhood. Anybody have any questions?
All righty, seeing none, we thank you so much for your time. We thank you so much. We're moving now to Friends of Green Hills to present an annual update. Hello there, you have 7 minutes.
My name's Ashley Cantrell. I serve on the board of Friends of Green Hills Park. So I guess I'll click this to move along. So Green Hills Park is a 12-acre park near J.T. Moore Middle School. And we have softball fields, soccer fields, frisbee golf, a pavilion, playground, tennis court, swing set, that kind of thing. So those are some pictures of the park. Can we get that to full screen? Yeah. Okay. So that's just an aerial shot of the park, so you have an idea where it is. But this year we've made a few improvements and have some interesting projects I'd like to share with you. So we recently added a misting water fountain that has a bottle filler station and a dog watering station in its location. It's right next to the playground area. Before, we only had one water fountain in the park near the school, which is kind of sad. So we put one on the opposite end near the playgrounds because kids are thirsty and a lot of the dads forgot to pack water. So that helped a lot. It's very much appreciated. No, sorry. It happens. Sorry, dads. But yeah, we've also got some exercise equipment that's making its way to the park soon. Okay, here we go. Did I blow through those too quickly? Okay. So the mist and water fountain we talked about, exercise equipment, we got a large donation from a patron to basically fund the exercise equipment purchase. So that's on order. It should be arriving soon, and then the installation will happen later this summer. So that will be kind of in flat ADA accessible areas, sort of between the school and the park. I got an in-ground locking hose bib because I oversee the restoration, the grassland restoration projects in the park. And over the last 3 years, we've planted a lot of trees in that area. Of course, we've had 3 consecutive years of drought. So I've been out there trying to keep the trees alive. Most of them are alive. We've lost a couple, but that's okay. So there's the water fountain, the exercise equipment, and just in-ground hose bib that has a locking mechanism so the kids can't tamper with it. Not that anybody would want to, but they can't. We installed this 100-foot primitive rock border just to try to consider the maintenance crews. We don't want to add any work to their already busy workload in the park, so we're trying to be thoughtful and create a boundary between the grassland restoration area and their mowing space. So this seems to be working pretty well, but we wanted to just try it in a 100-foot span to see how difficult it would be to maintain. There's also a sign there for the Native Grassland Restoration Project, which I'll talk about next. So these are pictures from years past. We used to have basically a wall of invasive plants that stuck out in some areas 50 to 70 feet from the fence line that you can see in the background that separates the park from the nearby HOA community. We've cleared all of those invasive plants and trees. Now we're trying to control the ground cover invasives that are coming back, and we're hoping to put a little grassland restoration area in there with native plants to add an ecological education feature in the park. It'll be a multi-year project, but we're excited about it given the proximity of the park to the school. So this is the rough timeline. Right now it's in its ugly phase because we've got to kill all the bad stuff before we put the pretty stuff back in. These are our partners, and I know several of these companies have partnered with the parks in the past. There's also a very unique ecosystem in the park. It's near the tennis court and the fields. It's a full sun wet meadow. Years ago, it was designated a no-mow area, but the woman who did that moved to a different state, so it's just kind of been, unmowed for many years. So we have to figure out a restoration plan now with an expert who's going to help us figure out the best way to clean out what's there that needs to be cleaned out and restore this as kind of just a very unique but small wetland ecosystem. So I met with Angel Fowler, who's a wet ecosystem restoration specialist, and she identified wetland soils and crayfish burrows and some other indicators that give us hope for this being a really cool educational opportunity. We're going to clear some drainage blockage there. The culvert is blocked, but that's okay. We'll figure that out. We have a festival every year. This year it's on the 6th. It's a lot of fun. We had about 4,000 people last year. That's where we get most of our funding as a friends group. So I hope you'll join us. We have an inflatable movie theater screen that comes, and this year we're showing Shrek, so it's really fun. The kids love it, the families love it. So we're hoping to get some educational signs put in. Tennis court resurfacing is on the books for future years. And we're collaborating with the school to get the kids to get out there and learn about native plants, which they love. So these are some examples of possible education signs we'll have once the grassland restoration is complete. This is just the current condition of the tennis courts, which, again, I know it's on the list. We did have a fun event on May 14th where 4 of the 6th grade classes came out and planted a bunch of milkweed, so they had a blast. So some of them have even lived, We'll have some milkweed next year. But those are the host plant to monarch butterflies, so it's a good thing to do. I do have a question for you. We were hoping to offer a food truck in the park, like when Green Hills Girls Softball League starts up, we thought it might be nice to offer a shaved ice because it's, August when they start. And I didn't know if there's anything special we needed to do to get permission to have a food truck in the park.
You coordinated with John Holmes, Wayne Evans, and
Okay.
just
Okay,
coordinated with Wayne.
great, thank you. We'll talk after this. All right. That's it, that's my presentation. Thank you so much for all you do.
All righty, thank you so much. Any questions? We appreciate your time, and thank you so much for your support. We'll move now to capital projects update. That is a written report. Greenways open space update is a written report. And we will have an oral report from Jackie Jones on upcoming special events and activities as we understand that Parks and Recreation Month has begun.
Good afternoon, everyone. So July is here. This is the first day of July. And it means that it is Parks and Recreation Month on a national level. Metro Parks, along with parks departments all over the country, are celebrating this month by focusing on their programs, their activities, their benefits to the community, as well as their employees. We will primarily be telling our story on social media because that's where we get the most interaction, and that's what we believe is going to be the best way to communicate what we have to say during this month. We will also have a photo contest to sort of draw the public into the fact that July is Parks and Recreation Month, and we will have a proclamation read on the council floor this evening. On Friday, July 18th, it is Parks and Recreation Professionals Day, and we want to use this opportunity to educate our young people about possible careers with parks and recreation. We will have a panel of degreed as well as non-degreed professionals from our various divisions sit down with about 20 teams from various community centers to have what I hope will be a spirited discussion about career paths in parks, education, and why a career with parks and recreation ends up being more than just a vocation. It ends up being an avocation as well. Later that day, we will have an event to thank all of our employees, to thank them for what they do, to thank them for their hard work, to thank them for working because of rather than in spite of. Thank you for working in blistering heat, freezing cold, and monsoon rains. Thank you for coming in early, staying late, and working on weekends. Thank you for your exemplary work ethic. Thank you for your professionalism in the face of sometimes loud and sometimes uninformed criticism. Thank you for your loyalty and dedication, but most of all, we want to thank them for being themselves and being Metro Park employees. So I hope you all, if you have time, to join us on the 18th. We'll have a little treats and a few surprises as well. I wanted to show you a couple of videos that you will see online beginning today.
Hi team! Happy Parks and Recreation Month. Parks and Recreation Professionals Day is July 18th, and I'd like to invite each of you to stop by the main parks office and join me for a sweet treat to thank you for all of your hard work and dedication. Come by the parks office for some light refreshments and some other goodies too. Thank you for your service to the department and to the community. See you soon.
We're very fortunate in that I would say, I'm not going to say a majority, but I will say a lot of our employees are on our social media pages. So sometimes this is the best way to get the word out to them. Here is another video that you will see online a little bit later in the month.
I would like to see a giant slide. I'd like to see a vending machine upstairs because there's already one downstairs, and then kids can get their snacks upstairs.
I would like to see more basketball communities and coaches and training camps come to the center on Sundays and weekends where some kids are free.
A gymnastics studio, as my friends do gymnastics and I want to get into gymnastics, but I don't know where.
I would like to see like a bigger playground area so there's more space for kids to play.
More outdoor basketball courts, especially for days like Sunday, because most centers, community centers, aren't open on Sundays.
Room like this, but bigger and with more stuff. Like maybe a pool table or board games or puzzles. Skating, because you can roll. We are the future of Metro Parks.
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 We are the future of Metro Parks. We are the future of Metro Parks.
And they are indeed the future of Metro Parks, and we hope through our career day, they will see themselves as that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Henley?
Just want to make sure that is the July 18th, is that an all-day thing, or is there a specific time you would like for?
It'll be I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, so from 10:30 to about 11 is when we will have the career day with the teens that will come to talk with our team about their qualifications and what they did and why they chose Metro Parks. And then and I need to make sure that I have the time correct because we have some things that are scheduled for that day, but
You'll send it to us.
We'll send you a reminder, yeah. But it's, I believe it's from 1, it's either 12:30 to 2:30 or 1 to 2:30. But I'll get back with you on that and make sure that you all have that invitation. You're welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome. We're moving now to the report of the director, Director Odom.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and Parks Board members. Since our last meeting, as you all probably know, the FY26 operating budget passed. Yay. It was about $6.9 million in improvements for the Parks Department, so we are very grateful for that. We are in the process, as today is July 1, we like to joke and say, well, today we're rich, tomorrow we're poor again. So this begins fiscal year 26, but we are still in the midst of closing out FY25 and we'll be in that mode till probably the end of August. We are emphasizing heat safety and weather awareness with our employees, our staff, and park users. As you know, with the hot weather and storms that come upon us, we want to make sure that anybody in a park, particularly our staff, and also, again, park users are safe and aware of their surroundings and, again, weather aware. Demolition has started on the West Community Center. As you all know, May 10th, there was a collapse of that gym. The rest of the gym has been taken down. If you recall, I informed you last meeting that the demolition would be in a couple of phases. One, to down the rest of the gym, then to make sure that the community center portion of that facility was safe to enter. We're in the process, our staff is in the process of removing the content of the community center, and after that is complete, we'll move forward with the full demolition of that center. I will include in our CSP request for FY26 funding to rebuild that community center. That it may be in a couple of phases, but anyway, we will initiate that. It's already included, the request for funding or as a funding item is already included in the capital improvements budget. We did that for this past year. The Wasioto Park elevator to the pedestrian bridge is up and running now. As you'll recall, I reported last month that elevator would be down for CMAs because of the broken glass. We've replaced the glass now, and it is up and running. Our ultimate plan, though, is to replace that elevator with a higher capacity elevator that does not have that glass, which seems to attract vandalism. We continue with our electronic gate installations across the county at different parks, as you heard Captain Davis talk about and Ms. Lockett talk about infrastructure improvement. We are continuing those across the county, and what those gates are, as I've told you before, are a way for us, for our maintenance team, our parks police team, use those as a tool to prohibit vehicular access, particularly after hours when criminal activity or unpermitted events are happening at those parks. So that is a way for us to manage that. And then I'll just say, as Jackie has highlighted, it is National Parks and Recreation Month. And we are focused on our professionals here in the park system. But I did also want to thank you all park board members for your service and your commitment. I know it's a volunteer role. I know for many of you who have been on the board for quite some time, it can be challenging. You have lots of challenging issues that come before you. But we appreciate your dedication again and your commitment, and just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Director Odom? All righty, seeing none, we'll move now to announcements, requests for future agenda items, and open items. Are there any? Okay, thank you all so much for your time. I'll accept a motion for adjournment. All righty, have a good day. We're adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.